Welcome back to another episode of Gamers Remorse. Today we're reviewing Aces of the Aether. An odd little... a game of risk, reward, and merciless sky pirates for 2 to 4 scoundrels.
Very nice.
Aces of Aether is a card-drawing movement, location-action, poker-infused, steampunk-themed card game for 2 to 4 players and takes about 30 minutes to play. In this game, players are skyship captains, going from port to port and trying to improve their hand through mini-games. When captains meet, they compare poker hands. The player with the better hand wins and earns a token. The first to 3 tokens wins.
And this is also one of the entries into our Gamers Remorse Killer Contest that was featured on the Game Crafter. So let's dive into it and see what we thought. Brian, what do you think of the look and feel of Aces of Aether?
So out of 2, I think I would give this 1.5. I really liked the art on the location cards. Mm-hmm. I think that is a fantastic, mostly almost watercolor-esque design. I really liked the way those were done. Mm-hmm. The backs of the cards are really fun. It looks kind of like a piratey steampunk skull thing. Mm-hmm. But then the actual playing cards are slightly disappointing. There's a lot of white space, which as a designer, I love white space. But I feel like the checker background gives enough that I would have liked a quality image like that on the front of the cards. Mm-hmm. And then there's just some smaller things, like there's a heading that doesn't fit in the little box and stuff like that. But I feel like they did some awesome work in some areas, and so the other areas where it wasn't as awesome stood out. Mm-hmm. But I mean, other than that, I really liked it. Would you guys agree, disagree? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would mostly agree with everything you said. I like the iconography as well. I don't know if you touched on that. But on the upper left of most of the cards, they have an icon, indicating there's the 4 suits, but there's also these location cards that also had those same icons that I really liked.
Yeah, I think the only thing that was misplaced was the token of renown, or the victory points, essentially, which are the chevrons, which were really out of place for this. I mean, I think we kind of discussed that using military tokens as the victory points essentially for the round probably would have better suited to use either like a gear or a model of a gun or a propeller or something. Would probably be better, since you are trying to collect the best equipment for your airship.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, overall I would agree with the standing number.
All right, Eric, what do you think of the balance in mechanics?
I was hoping for a lot more. I was let down a little. And this is what, out of 1, 2?
Out of 2.
2? Yeah. Okay. I did like a lot of it, but there was enough to... It was described as kind of like a poker game, and it didn't feel like a poker game at all to me. There was the hands to fight or whatever. It was like a mixture of war on rating, and fighting another player was poker. And to me, poker is the bluffing game, and there wasn't any bluffing at all. So I was kind of let down on a lot of it. Personally, I think I'd give it about a 0.75 for mechanics.
I struggle to say it would almost be a 1, personally, because you have the ability to move around and choose where you're going. That was very unique, I thought. And you could only go the way of the trade winds. However, I do see your point. There's no bluffing in this at all. And for a poker game without bluffing, what is it? It's set collection.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about that a little bit. It would be cool to maybe allow the person that you landed on to run away as part of the bluff. Someone's coming after you. Are you going to run away, or are you going to stand and fight? And if you run away, you lose something. Maybe you give them half of your play cards. Yeah.
Discard a card at random.
Something like that would be really cool to add in there. So I would agree, 0.75.
Yeah, that's where, if you were trying to stand at one, I would have tried to talk you down. But mainly because the balance struggles in the war side of things. The very first time we played this game, my very first turn, I go to raid with an ace. Mm-hmm. and I'm beat by a 2 of trump. And it's like, the chances of that are slim. It's more likely you won't draw trump. And then the fact that it had to be the 2 of trump, that's just a slap to the face.
Insult to injury.
And then I sat and watched, 5 minutes of people moving around a circle. So there's just those elements where, like, sometimes it didn't feel balanced, and I think it's because, as you described it, it is war, essentially. War, the card game, not war, the physical act of combat.
Right.
Yes.
But, like, so you set out, and that was one of your big mechanical, which kind of brings us to pacing. What did you think?
Pacing, I would give it a 0.5. And mainly because, it seems to go decent, but I am a self-professed speed gamer. And the longer my turn, like, I start to physically feel terrible. And every turn, I was like, I'm going too long, they're going to be hating me, and then you start over-analyzing, and it gets worse, and then you make stupid decisions. And, every turn, I felt like I was taking too long. And I'm still probably having some of the shortest turns. But then once you get kicked out for the round, once you're eliminated, there's not much to watch because everything is done inside the player's mind, and so you can't even watch them combat. You're watching them move and think.
Yeah.
So I would give it a 0.5.
And there's so much meta going on. It's not entertaining to watch at all.
Yeah.
So the last 2 times we played, I actually just got up and left.
After your
And
elimination.
did other things. We're filming at my
Yeah.
house, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll go talk to my wife or something.
Yeah.
So I completely agree.
I was
Just sit
eliminated
there.
more than you guys, though, so I'd be curious to know, as people who got to actually play, what are your thoughts?
And this is out of 1, right?
Yeah.
See, for me, like, I put it in the mindset of poker and trying to slow things down, analyze my thinking as far as, like, that set collection, what would beat what. And so, like, I was kind of focusing on the more poker side and trying to get that whole set going. And then once I had it, it became easy. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything until I either have to fight or come down to the end of the game. So for me, like, turns didn't seem as long, but I can easily see. I am the player that wasn't eliminated until the end of rounds. So, like, if I was eliminated, it was to signify that the next player had won that round. So outside of that, I'd never been eliminated. So I think for me, it was a lot easier to think that the pace was much more there. But I could easily see that it would really be a bad pace to be eliminated early. Say the first turn you had. So
it was.
So yeah, I can be talked down to a 0.5 on that. So
Okay. In regards to theme, I really like the theme. One of the first things I read in this game was about the theme, right? You have sky pirates, looking for loot. You have a little bit of poker in there. It's like, oh, this sounds awesome, right? I really got into it. And the pictures, the artwork really drew me in as well as part of that theme. And the different suits, it all worked into that sky pirate steampunk type theme, and I loved that. However, it seemed to lack that in the card department, I guess. When I started getting into that, I didn't feel it. It didn't seem interwoven. Yeah, the suits are guns and propellers and sextants, but beyond that, I just didn't get it. So I would give it a 1 out of 2. It just didn't draw me in the way I thought it would. What are you guys' thoughts?
I enjoyed the theme. I thought the theme was there throughout. Even if the cards weren't necessarily the design, the forerunner, the icon in the middle wasn't as well. The names on the top, there was not names of the item in which you were holding on the top of the card. One of the guns was Vera, which for me was very entertaining. So I thought the theme there was there throughout. The poker being more mechanical than the theme, I thought was it didn't really add to the theme. It was just kind of an added mechanic. So the theme, I'd probably give it more of a 1.25 rather than just a 1. Like the winds of change and everything kind of helped add to everything the movement. You could speed up, slow down, drift, whatever. So.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You know, once you start looking at these, and the idea that you're building up a ship, then you know, okay, so altering cards, and you can only have so much on your ship, so that kind of feeds the theme. But it did. I see where you guys are coming from. You know, it did leave me wanting more. So I think I would agree with 125.
Yeah, 125 makes sense. I guess I didn't even see the top, titles: Aileron Bank, Chronometer, Rotary Cannon. That makes sense. You're building
Rotary
girder. Rotary girder. Rotary cannon girder. So, okay, yeah, we'll get 1.25 for theme.
Mm-hmm. How about you to learn, Eric? You learned the game for us.
It was fairly easy. The rules were, clearly stated. There were times where, the user error where, forgetting to bring in certain points. But that's what having the rule book is for. It was really easy to learn. It was fairly easy to teach. Once it kind of got going, it was pretty easy to maintain. So I'd probably give it a 0.75 out of 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 0.75.
Okay. Sounds reasonable to me. I mean, it seems simple enough once you get the core mechanics of it.
Yeah.
It's rinse, repeat. So.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily teach anyone, sit down, we're going. The intricacies might be a bit longer. It took me like the first half of the game to realize there's a score sheet on the back of these cards.
That was the first thing I saw, but yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the other side, the turn sequence. And then finally I flipped it over and I'm like, what's on the back? Oh, that would have been handy a long time ago.
Okay. What about replayability? What's your thoughts there?
For me, I think it depends a lot. I think if my first round I'm doing great and I'm seeing some of these struggles and these developments, then it's like, oh, I want to do better. I want to advance. When 30 seconds into the game you're eliminated,
and then you have to wait 7 minutes.
And then you have to wait 7 minutes to get back in because that round doesn't end until they've expired the entire deck.
Yeah.
I did not want to play.
The look on your face when you're like, so can I play now? That was the end of the round, right?
Yeah,
like, no.
so like we finished that round.
Turn.
That round, right? All right, so I'm back. No.
Yeah.
That's not a round.
The look on your face was like, I just ran over your puppy. You were
Yeah.
like, what?
It's like
I don't want to wait anymore.
Yeah. And every round, right? The industry term, every round. Is the round over? No. We're not using industry language here. So every round, my heart was getting stomped on. But then once I actually started to get to play, I'm like, man, this is fun. And then I got eliminated really quickly again later.
So you're just kind of.
So I was on a roller coaster of emotions, man. So I would give it 1 out of 2. It's very 50-50 on your experience. I feel I have a lot of friends who aren't as big of gamers as we are, and they wouldn't have finished that game. They would have been like, this is terrible, I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh, but I mean, it just seems like there's so much theme there that they could work with, and the mechanics just didn't live up to it.
Yeah.
So it didn't really make you want to come back for more. So it just seems like maybe there's tweaks you can do, add some bluffing in. We kind of talked about that, right? Where maybe you have the ability to run away when someone tries to fight you, but you lose half your stuff.
Yeah.
Just something there.
Yeah. And if like failing a raid, it doesn't have to be so drastic as you're out for the rest of the round. They need a better term than round. Personal opinion there. But if it's like discard your hand and you only have 1 card now, so you're in a terrible poker hand position, but you can slowly build that back up or something.
Yeah. Okay, so that put us at 5.75 if my calculations are correct.
Yep.
So that has been Aces of Aether here on Gamer's Remorse. All right. Thanks, guys.
See, this is why you need smart people.
We have 17 minutes before the alarm goes off.
All right.